right, everybody, welcome in. It's Wednesday, February 4th, 2026. We are back. Part 3 of the Epstein files. Welcome in, everybody. Good to see everybody here. Wow, this has been getting crazy, going through all of these documents and reading all the information that's been out online. When I sit here and it's like all these names that have been implicated, even more, names that we've known about, even more information has come out now, and still yet no one in custody, no conversations, no question and answer sessions, no arrests. What are we waiting for here? What are we waiting for? But we're going to get into data set 3 tonight. And I want to let everybody know that when we get into it, this is truly one of the most disturbing steps that I've gone through so far. And I want to make sure here to the live audience and the audience that's watching this back on replay is that I went back and did my due diligence to even redact even more information or things that could potentially be saw in this set of documents. So I want to make sure and put that disclaimer out there. I have, gone through, I actually went through twice today, and it's about 1,800 files in this set of images, and heavily redacted it even more because a lot of the redactions that came out were poor, very, very poor. And, obviously we have to be very sensitive to the victims. We have to be very sensitive to what we show here on YouTube, of course. And, I just need to morally feel right about what I do here too. So that's what you're going to get tonight. And if anybody wants to go see the documents, you can go right to the DOJ website if you want to see the less unredacted stuff. And I'm sure that I think a lot of it's been adjusted by now. But again, I went back and I did some heavily redacting of this as well too. So there's that. So I just want to let everybody know a lot of the shows that you're going to see, I'm hearing a lot of complaints because a lot of people are new to my channel. A lot of the material that I do here is live streamed. So, it's not going to be perfect. It's, there might be some mistakes. There might be some things that don't flow as smooth as a recorded video. But you're watching this live right now. So just to kind of give everybody that intro, because I know someone was saying that, oh, your intro was so long. Well, what we do is we give about a minute to kind of hit the algorithm, let people get in, settle into the chat, and then we go forward. So anyway, let's go to the chat. Let's see who's in here, and then we'll start getting into the presentation tonight. I want to talk about some of the other things that have come out just recently. Bill Gates has been in the news again. The Clintons have been in the news again. We're going to talk a little bit about that, and then we will get into data set 3. And again, I'm just give everybody a disclaimer before we get into that and go from there. So Denise is in the chat. Nice to see you, Denise. Thanks for being here. Quincy Girl is here. Thank you for being here. Denise says, it just keeps getting so weird. We asked for the files to be released, and wow. Yeah, this is nuts. And I just don't think that like you're going to be able to go through all of it. There's just so much. And I think sometimes, and this is my opinion about it, the design by the government is this. Hey, you asked for it. Here it all is. And they're probably betting or hoping that someone's not going to go through every single document. But I'm pretty sure that there's some companies out there or people that have built, some algorithm-based things or ways to scan these files and go through it and get information as quickly as possible out of them. So I wouldn't put that out of the mix as well either. Let's see. Granny's here. Thank you so much for being here. Rock is here as well. Thank you so much. And Angela says, I totally agree. Radio silence in Congress. Why? Absolutely. And now we're hearing that at the end of the month, there's going to be a committee on this, a Senate committee. The Clintons are supposed to come in and testify. I believe Hillary is going to testify on the 27th, and then Bill's going to testify on the 28th. And what are they going to say? Are they going to get up there and invoke their Fifth Amendment privilege? I mean, Bill Clinton is, going through these photos and looking through all of this documentation. His name is brought up, in my opinion, more than anybody in this. I mean, there's so many photos of him with Epstein. There's so many photos of him with, alleged underage girls or alleged, prostitutes. It's the amount of things that I've seen so far is crazy, absolutely crazy. And they're just going to let this guy come in and testify. And you know the game. You know the game. It's going to be, my Fifth Amendment privilege. I'm not going to speak on this. I released one of the depositions today from 2010 with Jeffrey Epstein. And that's basically all he did through his entire deposition. He didn't answer any questions. He said, I'd like to answer them, but X, Y, and Z. There's that. Karen's here. Nice to see you. Polly Pocket's here. Nice to see you as well. First stream, found your channel. Hey, thank you so much for being here. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Jill says, thanks for covering this. Why isn't the mainstream media talking about this? Because why would they want to talk about it, right? They're part of the cover-up. I'll tell you, Elon Musk, if you want to go on Twitter and watch a feed right now, go watch Elon Musk talking on this and calling out people and battling back and forth. I'm going to do a show about that probably over the weekend and get into some of the tweets that I've been seeing and the people that have been called out because they have emails with their names on it asking you to go to the island via Jeffrey. And, that's something I think I'm going to get into as well, too. So lots of people here. Mike from the Young Jerks. What's up, buddy? How are you? Thanks for checking in. But let's do this. Let's get to some of the most. So we got the Clintons. The Clintons are going to testify. Let's bring this up here. From the AP, Clinton's finalized agreement to testify in House Epstein probe, Boeing to threat contempt vote. And let's get into this here. Oh, Bubba, you're going to testify. Former President Bill Clinton and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton finalized an agreement in the House Republicans Tuesday to testify in the House investigation into Jeffrey Epstein this month. Boeing to the threat of contempt of Congress vote against them. Hillary Clinton will testify before the House Oversight Committee on February 26th, and Bill Clinton will appear on the 27th. It'll be marked the first time the lawmakers have compelled a former president to testify. The arraignment comes after months of negotiation between the two sides. Republicans sought to make the Clintons, both Democrats, the focal point in the House committee investigation into Epstein and convicted sex offender who killed himself, wah, 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 in a New York jail cell in 2019. And Ghislaine Maxwell, his former girlfriend. We look forward to now questioning the Clintons as part of the investigation into the horrific crimes of Epstein and Maxwell. I'm sure you do. And don't let them off the hook. Don't let him off the hook. To deliver transparency and accountability for the American people, for the survivors, Representative James Comey said, the chair of the House Oversight Committee said in a statement. Negotiation with the Clintons. They actually go into a negotiation. For months, the Clintons resisted subpoenas from the committee but House Republicans with the support of a few Democrats. I'm sure they did. I mean, look at their names. They're smeared all over the place in these files. The Advanced Criminal Contempt Congress charged to potential vote this week. It threatened the Clintons with potential and substantial fines, even prison time if they have been convicted. House Speaker Mike Johnson on Tuesday that an effort to hold them in contempt of Congress were paused. Even as the Clintons bowed to pressure, the negotiation between GOP lawmakers and attorneys for the Clintons was marked by distrust and wrangled over the details of the deposition. They agreed to have closed-door depositions transcribed and recorded on video, Cormier say. I bet they did. I bet they did, with a fleet of lawyers in the room. Cormier told the Associated Press that Republicans in the inquiry with the Clintons were trying to figure out how Jeffrey Epstein was unable to surround himself with these rich and powerful people. Cormier, the House Kentucky Republican, also said that the Clintons had expressed the desire to make the proceedings public, but would insist on closed-door testimony with a later release of the transcript of interviews. Yeah, they don't want that public pressure. They don't want those cameras on them when they're asked the tough questions. And I'm going to tell you right now, this is a way that they're going to get in there They're going to sit down and testify, and they're just going to say, Fifth Amendment, Fifth Amendment, Fifth Amendment. Not going to talk about that Fifth Amendment. Clinton, like a number of high-powered, powerful men, including President Donald Trump, had well-documented relationships with Epstein in the late 1990s and early 2000s. Neither Trump nor Clinton has credibly accused of wrongdoing in their interactions with the late financier. Both Clintons have said they had no knowledge of Epstein and was sexually abusing underage girls. For prosecution brought charges against them. The Clinton was initially argued that subpoena testimony were invalid and offered to submit sworn declarations of their limited knowledge. Come on, man. Limited knowledge. Limited knowledge. Yeah, I'm sure. But as Cormier threatened to proceed with contempt of Congress charges, they began looking for an off-ramp. I'm sure they did. And listen, I know everybody's been super critical about this. Oh, you don't talk about Trump. You don't talk about Musk. You don't talk about Bill Gates. You know what? Everybody that has been implicated or their names have been brought up in these documents should and have to answer questions. That's how I look at it. I treat this whole thing fair. I don't give a fuck about political party. I don't care if you're a Democrat. I don't care if you're a fucking Republican. I don't care if you're an independent. If your name is brought up in these documents and there's strong allegations against you, you need to answer questions. No more hiding on this. It's all public and it's all out there. And I don't care. I don't care who the president is. It could be Clinton. It could be Obama. It could be Trump. I don't care. If your name is brought up and you are heavily involved in these documents and there's some strong allegations, you need to answer questions. That's the bottom line. All right. Let's go here. So Bill Gates, let's talk about Bill Gates. Bill Gates, again, name heavily brought up in the new document dump. Epstein, alleged billionaire Bill Gates, left ex-mistress penniless and sleeping on a couch. On a couch. A billionaire fame allegedly did not extend his extramarital affairs. Bill Gates is facing intense scrutiny for his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein following a trench of files released by the Department of Justice on January 30th. In one 2017 email, Epstein alleged that Gates left his former Russian mistress broke and sleeping on a friend's couch. You can't make this up, man. Oh, my God. Kate 70, who is worth roughly 104 billion, making him one of the 20th richest people, has been one of the most high profile. I can't with these people. It's like, why are these people not being brought in? Yes, Bill Gates needs to be brought in. Let's get some questions here. Oh yeah, we're going to play this. We're going to play that in a second. In an email sent from Epstein's personal Gmail account to Gates advisor Boris, you gotta have the Russian name in there. Concerning that the Microsoft founder Epstein wrote in 2017 that Gates' former bridge girl, who appears to be Mila, I think it's Anatova, a bridge player nearly 30 years, Gates' janitor, was broke and had little money. Epstein claims that she was living on a friend's couch and really needed money before adding, I sent her some. And I think down here is actually email here. Yeah, let's see this. So this is Epstein. Says Blank had emailed a couple of times over the past 2 months. I had sent her a note and said that she had little money, couldn't afford an air conditioner, was living on a friend's couch, really needed money. I sent her some. Your friend Bill is nuts. His former girl can't even afford air conditioner, can't even afford travel to bridge. And she said that Sharon Osbourne used to arrange. Dude, the names are just everywhere. The lawyer helped her with her papers. Is she okay? But she's okay, but broke. That story would take Trump off the front pages. The richest man in the world is cheap. Former bridge girl in toys lives with friends on sofa. Wow. All right, let's go up and let's hear what Bill Gates had to say about this.
Governments are going to be there on an ongoing basis. Now, there are some things where you can pilot a new approach where a philanthropist can take a risk to find a scientist or, get it out. And that philanthropy is sometimes more agile. So it plays a complementary role to government to himself. That email was never sent.
24 to 48 hours.
To spend time with him. I was one of many people who regret ever knowing him.
We go back.
That was a focus was always meant Jeffrey in 2000 to find a scientist or, get it out. And that philanthropy is sometimes more agile. So it plays a complementary role to government funding.
Yeah, part of that issue of trust brings me to Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah.
I want to know what your relationship with him was.
Yeah, I met Jeffrey in 2011. So over a period of 3 years, I had a number of dinners with him. The focus was always, he knew a lot of very rich people, and he was saying he could get them to give money to global health. In retrospect, that was a dead end. And I've said many times, but I'll say again, I was foolish to spend time with him. I was one of many people who regret ever knowing him.
You've no doubt seen
I bet you do,
including some of them from the last 24 to 48 hours. Are they true?
No, apparently Jeffrey wrote an email to himself. That email was never sent. The email is, false. So I don't know what his thinking was there. Was he trying to attack me in some way? But, it just reminds me, every minute I spent with him, I regret, and I,
I'm sure you do.
I did that.
The problem is some of the things that he has sent and some of the information about other people that has come up in those files has been true. Why would he do this and say this about you, do you think?
It's factually true that I was only at dinners. I never went to the island. I never met any women. And so, the more that comes out, the more clear it'll be that although the time was a mistake, it had nothing to do with that kind of behavior.
Is it frustrating to you, given what you've said, that this is now happening?
Not really. I mean, people should, hold people who are successful to a very high bar. And so, it's as these documents come out, they're going to be closely scrutinized.
Okay. Some of your work here in Australia has involved institutions like Doherty. Part of our contribution, be it to some of the viruses that have been ended, mRNA vaccines, has been in research. What can Australia do that other countries can't, and how can Australia help other countries through research?
Easy.
Well, Australia has some fantastic work, including here at Doherty, the Murdoch Children's Research Institute. Literally the main cause of diarrhea was discovered there. Almost every disease that we work on, TB, HIV, malaria, HPV, anemia, I've seen scientists that are doing great work here. So, we find the best scientists in the world. Here in Australia, we fund about 60 million a year in both health and agriculture. I'd love to see the government and other philanthropists fund these amazing people even more.
You don't have offices as such, I think, in our region, but is that the way that Australia can contribute through our research? It's a country that is wealthy on global standards, but certainly not a particularly wealthy country. Is this
all
our
we're
best
going to get
way by sending our best people to solve these big problems of the world?
Yeah, I think Australia will be a generous giver and will particularly help, say, malaria eradication in this.
Let's go to his ex-wife. Let's see what she had to say about it. Melinda. Let's see what Melinda had to say.
I have to acknowledge the elephant in the room at this moment. Your ex-husband, Bill, is named in the newest
She's like
tranche of Epstein.
She's like, Look at, I noticed this when I started watching this interview. Look at the look on her face. Yep. I told you. She has the look I told you look on her face. Look at this. Yeah, I told you.
I have to acknowledge the elephant in
Watch.
the room at this moment. Your ex-husband, Bill, is named in the newest
Yeah.
tranche of Epstein files.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there are a new alleged details about his past behavior. And I
Oh,
want to
yeah.
give you the opportunity to respond in whatever way you want to.
Well, let me say this. I think we're having a reckoning as a society, right? No girl should ever be put in the situation that they were put in by Epstein and whatever was going on with all of the various people around him. No girl. I mean, it's just, it's beyond heartbreaking, right? I remember being those ages, those girls were. I remember my daughters being those ages, right? So for me, it's personally hard whenever those details come up, right? Because brings back memories of some very, very painful times in my marriage, but I have moved on from that. I purposely pushed it away and I moved on. I'm in a really unexpected, beautiful place in my life. So whatever questions remain there of what I can't even begin to know all of it, those questions are for those people and for even my ex-husband. They need to answer to those things, not me.
That's exactly what I was saying in the beginning of this. Why is no one being hauled in? Why is no one being arrested? Why is no one being questioned? What are we waiting for here, people? What are we waiting for? What is Congress and the DOJ waiting for? Why is there not a fleet of people going out and arresting or bringing some of these people in and talking to them? We've got to continue to protect our children. If we don't do that, we are basically telling society, and if everybody gets a pass on this, we're basically telling society that this behavior is okay, that the rich and elites can continue to do this. That's what we're saying. That's what is being put out there. All right, let's keep playing.
And I am so happy to be away from all the muck that was there.
I have to put more words to the muck for context for our listeners. The emails in the files suggest that Bill Gates had additional affairs and that he tried to get medication to treat a sexually transmitted infection and that he was going to give you the medicine without you knowing. His representative has said all of this is false. It is not on you to have to respond to the details of that alleged behavior, but I wonder what your dominant emotion is when you read these news articles with these
Disgusting,
details.
sick,
sad.
Yeah.
Just unbelievable sadness. Unbelievable sadness, right? And again, I'm able to take my own sadness and look at those young girls and say, my God, how did that happen to those girls, right? And so for me, it's just sadness for, I left my marriage. I had to leave my marriage. I wanted to leave my marriage. I had to leave I felt I needed to eventually leave the foundation. So it's just sad. That's the truth, right? And it's kind of like, at least for me, I've been able to move on in life. And I hope there's some justice for those now women, right? We see them standing up in front of microphones in DC. What they went through is just unimaginable, I think.
Yeah, we need a people arrested though. It can't just go on the surface layer that it's been. I mean, this people can't get a pass on this. Okay. All right. Now let's get into data set 3. And I just want to talk about this first. I'm going to just kind of put this statement out there as a disclaimer. And I just want to make sure that you all understand, if you're just coming in, I went back and did some heavily redacting of my own to make sure that this was safe. And again, the link is out there if you want to check these over on the DOJ website. I tried to do my best due diligence to go through this and censor as much as I could. Um, so basically, we're going to get into it. We're going to scroll through it tonight, and there's some handwritten notes in there that we'll talk about. There's lots of photos. We're going to see a lot of photos that are labeled, that now we can give context to data set 1 and where those were taken. And you're going to see items from the Palm Beach investigation when Jeffrey Epstein was convicted and served, back in 2006, served time, 18 months, basically not really in prison. He was allowed to leave prison 6 days a week and only had to report back once. So we had this work program that he could go out on, and he really never really served any time. Okay, so this is my disclaimer. So the materials discussed in this video come from data set 3 of the U.S. Department of Justice large-scale release investigation records related to Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking case, disclosed under the Epstein Files Transparency Act. The documents consist of forensic evidence scans and photographs that were taken by the FBI evidence technicians during 2019 search of Epstein's New York City townhouse following his arrest. The files catalog items seized from the residence as part of standard investigation procedures. Most material in this data are heavily redacted or partially unavailable. In many incidents, original photographs were never scanned, or item content has been fully blacked out. These redactions are intentional and are designed to protect victims' privacy and prevent the public release of highly sensitive and graphic material. And again, I went back and tried to kind of double the redactions. So you're going to see a lot of redactions in here. If you want, you can look on the DOJ website for the full, and I'm sure they went back and redacted a lot of stuff from what I heard and took stuff down. The items shown, including references to novelty adult products, massage equipment, and framed photographs. These present for documentary and informational purposes only. The presence of an item in these records do not imply criminal conduct or any individual beyond what has been established in court. This video does not speculate on any of the identities, the individuals depicted in redactions or seen materials, nor does allege wrongdoing beyond verified public record. Viewers should understand that these documents reflect evidence cataloging, not conclusions. Some content may be disturbing or sensitive. Viewer discretion is advised. Okay. So let's do this. Let's run ticker on the bottom, and let's go through data set 3. I'm just going to bring this up on this screen here. Okay. So let's bring this up. Okay, data set 3. All right, let me start scrolling. Of course, right away, we're going to get a adult toy that was talked about. And these were some items that were taken from Epstein's house, the New York townhouse. That's the massage tables that they talked about. And I'm just going to increase the size here a little bit. More massage tables. The thing that's really disturbing about all of this to me, obviously the whole thing is very disturbing, but when you're looking through this, the thing that's very disturbing is it's like you see, like if you didn't know who any of these people were, okay, and you look at the photographs and it's like, oh, they're in a nice location and they're documenting their trip like anybody would do. You say you go to Mexico for the first time and you're down on one of the resorts and you're documenting your vacation, and then it's like vacation, friends, possibly family, and then it's like girls. It's like all mixed in with this, and you're like, oh fuck, like what happened here? Who is this girl? What is going on? And it's like all the while they're out partying and having fun. And then it's just like a random girl shows up or a couple of girls show up in these photographs. And you're like, oh God, they were abused and, used and probably trafficked. It's just very disturbing. Okay. So we'll move through here. So this is from the 2006. These are photo lineup shots, all part of the record here, all seized by the FBI. Okay, a lot of the stuff was automatically redacted by the FBI or the DOJ. Same thing. A lot of repeats here. There's all the photo lineups. This here, let's see, State of Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles, uh, driver and vehicle database information, basically, individual summary page, Jeffrey Epstein, a lot of this stuff here, tons of redactions. And this was all part of the 2006 file from Palm Beach. Photo lineup instructions. This probably was handed to a victim, basically saying you're going to be asked to look at a group of photographs. The fact that the photographs are shown should not influence your judgment. You should not conclude or guess the photographs contain a picture of the person who committed the crime. You're obliged to identify anyone. It's just as important to free innocent persons from suspicion or identify guilty parties. Please do not discuss this case with other witnesses nor indicate in any way that you have identified someone, and obviously someone signed off on it. There's a date and time as well too. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, a lot of the co-conspirators were redacted. Yeah. All right, we'll keep moving on. More photo lineups. Palm Beach, 2006. That's a good question, Shu. How do you get 34 felonies and never see an inside of a jail cell? All right, more photo lineup instructions. I was reading all like the revision dates and the dates, the photo frames. And you're going to see a lot of these place markers after, potential evidence was taken in. Like something like this wasn't as heavily redacted. I went back and touched this one up with some major redactions just to protect, the people that are involved that were redacted. These are a lot of the photo frames that they found in his house, frame photos. We saw a lot of that stuff in data set 1 when we saw the inside of the house, of his New York townhouse. All those photos that were spread everywhere. I mean, this possibly could be a lot of that stuff. And you're just sitting there and you're like, all right, who's that person? Yeah, I went back and cleaned up a lot of this stuff because like you can see like the second bar that I put on there, some of it was very loosely redacted. There's some pretty bad stuff in here. More photo frames. Yeah, this was interesting too. The kind of text around there, once in a blue moon, once in a blue moon, once in a blue moon, and kind of circled the frame. Photo with frame. And again, I'm just going to keep scrolling through these. I went back and cleaned this. I redacted this a lot more. A lot of the really heavily redacted stuff, I You know, I just went back and made sure that stuff was really touched up because there was a lot of poor redactions. It's like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, I think, in a photo frame. Yeah, so all the files are on the if you just Google Jeffrey Epstein DOJ files, it'll take you right to the website. But I grabbed a lot of these when they initially were released. We were able to download them. You can't download them anymore. And I think a lot of that was because there was so many loose redactions in these files. A lot of the victims' names were still out there. A lot of the faces weren't properly redacted. So they pulled them. I also heard that there was a lot of documents that were pulled, and there's still a lot of unreleased documents. But I grabbed them right away, and there's been a lot of adjustments on the DOJ website since then. Yeah, 3 million. Yeah, 3 million have not been released. And it's like, all right, well, what's in those documents? You know. But I got these sets and went through and did some redactions on my own. I went back and checked this set twice because this one was very, very disturbing, and I'm sure probably a lot of these photos have been pulled from the DOJ website now. This is some pleasure toys that we're going to see here in a second. I did my best to redact them as best as we could. So more, more things that were taken from Epstein's house, his New York townhouse. There's a type of photo frame that they were using. I went back and I remember doing this one too. I redacted it even more. And the thing that's really creepy about this, if you notice the book is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I mean, you can't make this shit up. And there he is with his American flag t-shirt on and with the Dr. and Jekyll, Mr. Hyde book that he's reading. I mean, you can't make this shit up. I went back and redacted this too. A lot of these I did, just heavily redacted them. And you're going to see a lot of that through this theme tonight. So here's the thing. The files are accessible on the DOJ website, and I'm taking an account for the victims, and I'm also taking account of what we can show here on YouTube. So this may not be the show for you. You can go over and you just pick up the DOJ website and go through it. What we're doing is I'm going through these so we can have some conversation and talk about it here. I have to be sensitive to the victims. We have to be sensitive to the victims. That's what I do here. You know, that's exactly what I do here. So I went back and made sure that things were, I did more redactions than there were, because they were showing a lot of faces through these photos. This is all done by the FBI. All these really thick redactions like this. That's FBI. I remember all this was FBI. This is all FBI. I remember these. That's initially how the photos all came. This first set was like really like this. All FBI here. And we'll just keep paging through. There's the notes. I want to get to the handwritten notes by the FBI and go through them. Some of that where they talk to victims. I'm just going to keep paging through until we get, yeah, this, I redacted this a little bit more. It was a little loose in its redaction. And I'll just keep flipping through here. Let's see, Town of Palm Beach, more Palm Beach, evidence folders. This one here, photo fast. Yeah, this might have been like a center he was using to, um, process photos. This one I redacted a little bit more, but you can see Jelaine in there. I think this is at the townhouse, from what I remember. I think we saw that punching bag at the New York townhouse when they went through it in the gym. More file folders. I want to get to the handwritten notes. Yeah. Yeah, she's on the beach. Yeah, you can see her on the beach back there. More confiscated toys from the townhouse. I don't know what this was. I was kind of curious about this. I don't think it's like a lineup or anything like that, but looks like a folder with some cutout squares and obviously some people that they don't want you seeing. Let's see. You should be asked to look. Oh, yeah, this was part of a lineup. Yeah. Broken glass handle. This was interesting. And this, you can see the glass handle here. Some of the places he might have frequent. A lot of these places were down in Florida, and this gentleman's club was down in Florida. Probably some place that he frequent. This was redacted. More things from the Palm Beach investigation. You have all the CDs here. Case number. Evidence logs. All Palm Beach related. Yeah, these are the notes here that I was looking at. So let's see. 7/31/19. Let's see. Spent most of the time growing up, Santa Cruz Mountains. This is all from obviously one of the investigators talking to a victim. Moved around a lot sophomore year. I don't think I finished 4 different junior high schools, 2 different high schools in 2 years. Just turned 16 when I moved to LA on my own. Life at home was not the best. Got a job at a hair salon, receptionist, first move. So you're getting kind of the history. Let's see. Native American spiritual hero. Let me stay with him. Malibu and Beverly Hills. First impression was really good. Does body work, massage therapy. He worked on me, made me feel comfortable. Has 4 kids, younger than me, single father. I worked as a bartender, have 3 kids, 9, 6, and 7 months. Let's see. My sister introduced to Epstein through X and traveled with him, X. My sister and I had an apartment together. Enjoying Hollywood, she moved back to the city after and met blank. Heard positive things about Jeffrey, J.E. I was very skeptical. I thought he had alternative motives, but didn't think someone could be this nice. My sister knew J.E. for a couple of months, and he was coming to California, Bel Air Hotel. She took me to his room. She introduced me to him, showed a lot of interest in my life and my upbringing. He kept in touch. Offered to pay for school. He would call me or have his assistant call me. I told him I'd be homeless in about a year. I suggested hair school. I wanted to learn languages and travel. He said, anywhere I want to go. 17 years old when I met him, kept in touch via phone. He invited me to go to one of his houses with my sister. Look at this. Went to a few: Florida, U.S. Virgin Islands, and New Mexico. So Zorro, she was at Epstein Island and another place in Florida, which would probably be Palm Beach. Let's see. Before I left for Spain, uh, being overwhelmed with houses, one luxury lifestyle, more than I ever seen. He was fun, lighthearted, active, trails, ride Hummers. I was very comfortable with him, felt blessed and safe. First visit, he called me to do a massage there. I put me in a very uncomfortable situation, blanked myself, massaging him. He started blank and asked her to take off shirt, remembering feeling that knowing how to get out of it. I froze, didn't know how to react. This is just, my God. Felt very vulnerable to get up from my job, an apartment where I was going to go, not just during the assault. We were wearing bathing suits, blank. I didn't want to go into detail. Let's see. Me and my sis had a 2-bedroom apartment. I gave up my room, go back and forth to his houses. I was primarily living in LA a few months. Went January 2003, turned 18 in Spain 4 months. He sent me to Spain. JE paid for everything, studying Spanish. Blank in his office. She helped me arrange it all. He knew how old I was when I came back from Spain. I went to the Virgin Islands or Florida, not sure which one. It wasn't visiting him. It was his home. I traveled with him for 2 years. Was in those years, he sent me to school. When not in school, I was back with him. I told him I developed an eating disorder, bringing me, he told to pack my stuff. He flew me to Arizona. Let's see, phone calls. I was having a hard time adjusting. He was my friend. I thought I reached out to him a lot. I don't remember if I saw him. Elaine, when I traveled, were a fam, several different, New York, Florida, different housekeepers, Virgin Islands, blank and blank, Paris chef cooked the best eggs. This is so crazy. Yeah, this data set's crazy. It's bad. Let's keep going. Let's see. I lived with him everywhere. Went to New York. We had an apartment in New York. Summoned us to the house to go shopping or anything. He had multiple apartments there. God, this guy, man. Different people lived there. Jean-Luc, heard a lot about him. Jeffrey Epstein's best friend. Had several blank, had one. I didn't work for him. We were very close, good friends. My best friend, she was very sweet and quiet. I understood that she was her girlfriend. It seemed like that. No one ever spoke about relationships with JE. When I tried to open up to her about my assaults, she didn't relate. Blank, bit standoffish. She wasn't very friendly. His assistant, plane departure, scheduling, all went through her. Ghislaine, let's see, this is the second assault. More than one before I was 18 with JE, short, blonde, brown, not a lot of makeup. Don't remember if we talked about my age. Blank touched me during both. JE, GM, and me. Those people I saw most there were other people. There were a lot of different people my age. Some come to stay for days. Some in and out in a couple of hours. Wow. New York, remember seeing girls here stay in the apartment when I was empty. No idea if under 18. Didn't talk with them. Didn't know names. And then it looks like Florida. I had a room there with a bathtub. We all stayed together. No routine. Jeffrey was always woke up early and had his coffee. No set time. Wake up when ready. A lot of girls coming and going for short periods of time to be an hour or two. He was very private. I knew the girls were coming to meet him. Could have been coming to see GM. Girls came in, kitchen here, blank say they're here to see Jeffrey. It was clear they were there to see him. Don't remember names. They weren't hanging out with me. If it was very secretive, I was blank. I didn't trust anyone. Now it looks like Virgin Islands. VI. He had separate quarters, had no set schedule, gathered outside area, very leisurely. People would come to the island. Jean-Luc, Naomi Campbell, and older people, less traffic. So Naomi Campbell has been named in this. Jean-Luc, I understand, one to be J.E.'s best friend, works and owns modeling agency, very eccentric, small, colorful. Saw him quite a bit. He traveled with us. Elaine, very intimidating, very cold, understood her to be a partner, their relationship more business. I avoided her. She was not friendly or nice. And now it looks like they're going to go through like photos. They probably showed and said, you know, what is this? Photo 1, Jeffrey Epstein in blank on Sadu in Virgin Islands. I took that photo from the doc. Photo 2. So she's giving some context to the photos that were taken. A lot of Virgin Islands. So Epstein Island. I'm just going to kind of page through this. Let's see. Photo 6. Let's see. 3 taken in Paris. I took it. So just naming photos that she took. And that was like the biggest thing that we were going in like, you know, who's taking these photos? Teeper Legal checking in. Nice to see you, Adam. How are you? This is so gross. Every single person on this list needs to be thrown in jail. Every single one. I completely agree. Completely agree. Let's see. J.E. in Florida, Disney, taken by me. Took pics of me. I don't remember it came up. One first. I think the trip to Spain on the island. I believe I was wearing a bathing suit, like modeling. Look at this. 4 assaults before 18. Paris, New Mexico, Florida. 2 assaults. Were ours, snuck into room when sleeping. Gross. Setup kind of strange. Let's see. I didn't see him a whole lot. Probably count on both hands at the times they were there. Didn't visit often. Always kept me downstairs in room. Other people stay in nicer rooms upstairs. Sister began traveling with me the first time. She wasn't a whole lot more in the beginning. Handful of times we were together. I just remember her saying that what a great guy he was. Worked in his office in New York. I turned receipts into for petty cash. I assume she was assistant. J.E. sends me shopping in New York and saves receipts. Turned into him. Arranging anything to do. Travel helped me arrange first trip via phone. So don't remember who they gave me the phone. Let's see. Gulfstream. Look at this. Flew on one of his planes, his Gulfstream, in a bigger one. So that's probably the Lolita Express. Gulfstream's the smaller plane. That was the black one. And she's probably talking about the 727, 747. I'd fly commercially to take him schedule through property houses, only see me in New York in a person. J.E. helped me open one bank account, first bank account, set up a credit card. He had a banker help me right on the block, gave me a letter that I was residing with him. Let's see, paid for my school, sometimes gave me cash. Gave me a gold ring from Egypt, 600 BC. Left it in New York when I left. Should have took it and fucking pawned it in. Took me shopping. He was very controlling about what I wear. He was buying. He was so picky. Jay believes monograms are the way of life. It's not like life. It's not healthy to be monogamous. I'm sorry, monograms. Why did I say monograms? Monogamous relationship. Idea to build. Let's see. I went to Spain together to learn to build this. I trust him a lot. I believe. Oh, Jesus, man. I trusted him a lot, and I believed a lot of what he said. It was all mind control. And that's what happens with these victims. They get victimized, and then they get given everything, the money, the bank accounts, the houses, the clothes, the glamorous, rides in the airplanes. You know, they're getting shown this lifestyle, and then these people take advantage of them. And it just puts them in a weird position because it's like, what do I do? What do I say? Who do I go to? Ugh. I said I think it was wrong. So he asked me once, very random question, if I thought it was wrong for a blank. I said, I think that's wrong. Phoenix, Vegas is closer. Call for resources. Okay. This may be some photos of her with him. That's the Gulfstream. That's the smaller plane. And we'll just keep paging through here. Yeah, it's so sick and deranged. Another Bill Clinton photo. Oh, no, that's Epstein. Sorry. It looked like Clinton for a second. It's like, there's another Bill Clinton photo. And there's a lot of them in here, believe me. These are all heavily redacted. Oh, look at that. It's John Luke. Very young. Yeah, these are all heavily redacted. I think some of these got doubled up too. And again, I mean, I went back and really super redacted these. They're all on the DOJ website. If you want to see, it's under data set 3. This is one of the most troubling data sets that I've seen so far. And again, I did a lot of heavy redactions through this. I'm just going to page through. These are a lot of doubles. A lot of the scanned photos that were taken from the apartment or just photographed. I was like, who's this guy? Just kind of random Polaroid. It's like, who's that guy? It's like 498, the date on it. Let's see. More evidence paperwork. Let's see. 5/2/19 might be may have moved to Florida. Saw her on another IG. Moved back to Brazil. She's still in New York. Sister in current law, current, not sure if took. This one's really redacted. Not sure if I took, almost sure. Let's keep going here. Okay. Friends of Friends, big Brazilian group, Dominican dark skin, looked from Amazon. Let's see, brought towards end, desperate time, maybe 1 or 2 years older, not sure. Desperate time running out of girls, friends with boyfriends. JE didn't want Spanish or dark girl. Let's see, go in, wait in room. So basically telling what, he wanted. I don't really want to read any of this. I'm just going to page through it. At one point, witnessed him asking for ID to girl, wanted to make sure she was under 18 because he wasn't believing them because messed up by bringing most older girls, brought out purple. Yeah. Let's keep going. Roommate was still living with mom. They rented out, living with mom at 13, moved out. So again, looks like another history here. I don't really want to read any of this stuff, but I'll just leave it up for a second. We'll page through it. Recalls a lot of, I don't want to read any of this stuff. Heard you guys knew a rich guy, talking about all the things that were done. Now photos, the series of photos, and kind of explaining a lot of the photos that have been in this photo set. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Visit first meeting with the FBI. Doesn't remember anything said. Too nervous, very uncomfortable. Felt like needed lawyer. She may not have been honest because she was scared. Didn't know she was going to go to jail when she asked questions. Nice and friendly, then prior encounter. And then just talking about the history of things that went in. I'm not going to read any of that stuff. Asked if she remembers statement I made to lawyers. You know what I like. What was this? Broadway and 34th, corner of the restaurant building. Lives with fiance, would take money from girls. Brought up like kept pair. Took cab to JE. Doesn't recall if ever took train. Walked down block to grab cab. Remember, so just recalling some of the events. Never took things. Didn't like lingerie on her. Tell girls not to wear heels. Just casually everyday clothes. Not sure. New York. No IG sometimes. So back to. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Instagram. Yeah, they say a lot about the IG. I agree, Jill. People need to be arrested. That's what I mean. It's like we're sitting here and we're seeing this big photo dump. All these people are being talked about. They're all talking about it online. I mean, Twitter's crazy right now. And no one's being brought in for questions. No one's being asked any questions. No one's being arrested. Like, what the fuck? We have a lot to go through here. So I'm going to just kind of page through these. And a lot of the stuff super heavily redacted. And I went through and did a lot of redactions. I want to get into the photo sets because those were interesting. Because they actually have labels of where everything was, all the photos were taken. So you can kind of start matching up from data set 1, and you're like, oh, okay, that's Epstein Island. You're going to see very early photos of kind of the creation of Epstein Island in this set too, which was wild to see. His planning, he did, what do they call those? Like he did models and is it called, not diagrams? What the heck am I talking about? He made these models of potentially what the, what he was planning and plotting out to make the island look like. And you'll see a lot of that towards the end. More evidence markers, thumb drives. Yeah, it was like a lot of these. This was interesting how I don't know what caught the interest of this, but you can see it was like, oh, that photo was on the wall. I don't know, it had some attention of something. A lot of heavy reject. Yeah, these are the photo sets here. So you can see this. Excuse me. Hang on one second. Let me just do this really quick. Hang on one second. All right, let me go back here. where was I? Here. So, where's my document? Here we go. So if you look at the LSJ, Little St. James, that is basically the start of, Epstein Island. And you're going to see this kind of documented through all of this. Clearing the land. You can see here where they're clearing the land. A lot of the stuff. This one is, it says cloud 71st and clouds. You see a lot more Bill Clinton photos in this set too. I noticed that a lot of Bill Clinton, Prague and clouds. A lot of clouds. Prague again. Prague and clouds. So it's like crazy. You see like this stuff, it's like, yeah, it's like someone documenting their vacation, and then it's all of a sudden it just gets disturbing, disgusting, with all these photos that are added into the sets. Prague, more Prague. Paris. This one's Prague and clouds, so it's got Paris photos in here too. Paris. Prague. There's a CD for Prague, 5-4. This one is, I don't think this one was labeled. Paris paintings. This was I didn't remember the label on this one. Yeah, they redacted that one pretty hard. Zorro, Vegas, and Aspen. So that's his ranch. Zorro is the ranch. That was what? We looked it up, 33,000 square feet. Zorro, Vegas, and Aspen. This one's got 51 thumbnails. Let's see. CD. This one, there was no label on this one. This was crazy. Boston. It's like, oh, hanging out in my state. Okay. What are you doing here? Miscellaneous pics. So June of 2004. Zorro, that's the ranch. Massive 33. Like I said, I think it's 33,000 square feet that ranch was. Let's see. How many square feet was it? Again, if you just come in, we are live. And we're going through data set 3 in the Epstein files, all the images. Let's see, approximately see. Zorro Ranch, what was the size of it? It was on 7,600 acres of land, or it is. let's see, how many square feet is it? I think we read yesterday it was like what, 33,000? Let's see. Yeah, the main mansion of Jeffrey Epstein's former Zorro Ranch in Stanley, New Mexico is approximately 26,700 to 33,300 square feet. Whew. Massive. Massive, massive. Miscellaneous pics. London. And here we go. Little St. James again. So this is Epstein Island. New York City. So you had Epstein Island. You had New York City photos. What was the name, the label on that? Just miscellaneous pics. Let's see. What was that? Jean-Luc. That's Epstein's buddy, his best friend. More Jean-Luc. All right, let's see. These ones here, Paris and Sky. I think the Bill Clinton ones are coming up pretty soon, from what I remember. This one says, let's see, 56 Brickyard, PB Girls, Little St. James, which is Epstein Island, and then Little St. James Aerials, and then obviously this been heavily redacted. Yeah, let's see. Mr. Rob says Epstein apparently spent a lot of time in Paris. Interesting label on the Jean-Luc DC. Yeah, I saw that too. I think someone said that the deep dive, deep dive into the Zorro Ranch is mind blowing. I'm gonna have to check that out. I'm gonna have to do a deep dive into that. New Mexico protected him. He made massive campaign donations and purchased the ranch from a prominent political figure. Wow. Yeah, I'll have to deep dive into that one. It's just crazy. Like every location has its place and time and story to all of this craziness and abuse, and it's just it's mind blowing. And here we are. You know, we're here. What? Almost a week, pretty close to a week since these files have been dropped, and no person has been arrested. No one has been questioned. No one needs to answer for anything. I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, what are we waiting for? Yeah, Palm Beach Girls. Yep. I don't get it. Little St. James aerials of the building site. This is all pre building Epstein Island. Hong Kong. Little St. James, Epstein Island. That's what all these photos are here. Super heavily redacted. There's the Palm Beach Girls. Yep. Marietta, Palm Beach Girls. Again, super, super heavily redacted. We'll just page through these. Oh, yeah, this one here. So Jeffrey Epstein's 50th birthday. And that is the Lolita Express. And that dog, is that the dog that got taxidermied? Yeah, and that what I mean in all of this is that we've known about this for years. We've heard about it for years, but we just dumped another 3 million pages of files and nothing. More photos, over 2,000 videos, 180,000 photos. I mean, some of these people have been mentioned thousands of times in these documents. Uh, Still nothing. No arrests, no questions. Another thing that should never be swept under the carpet. So Epstein's 50th birthday. This Little St. James aerial photos. I wonder how much the island was purchased for. Probably nothing. Let's see. The island was valued at 63 million. Private island in 1997 was owned by venture capitalist Arch Cumming. Went for sale for 10.5 million. In 98, a company called Little St. James LLC purchased the island for for 8 million bucks. And the documents show that Jeffrey Epstein was a sole member of LSJ. In 2019, the island was valued at 63 million. Who would even want to buy that thing? Little St. James was Epstein's primary residence. He called the island Little St. Jeff. The main house on the island was renovated by Ed Tuttle, a designer. Little St. James was listed at 25 million. A lawyer Epstein estate. Jeez, man, it just gets crazier. Yeah, I mean that house in New York. What did we find the value? It was like 77 million. All right, moving on. 50th birthday. Let's see. Sarah says it makes us all wonder how many things that model that disappeared and who attended the elite party by saying they eat humans. Find her, you stupid fucks. Cash, dumb motherfucker. Find her. It's your job. We pay you. Yeah, and then like we see all those things that there was. I saw another report that there was a trap door at the island. I mean, that's just fucking wild shit, man. All right, let's keep going. This one's more birthday. All super heavily redacted. Palm Beach Easter. More Palm Beach. What was this one? Palm Beach Easter. Dancers. All super heavily redacted. I'm just going to page through these really quick. This one, Marble, Paris, and Zorro. So Paris and the ranch, New Mexican ranch. Excuse me. Little St. James. Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, we heard about this trap door. It's just crazy. And it went right to the ocean. Everything was right to the ocean. This one, Little St. James again. More heavily redacted photos, super heavily redacted. I'm just going to scroll through them. That, yeah, this is all super, super redacted. That's the island again. Taking some aerial photos, I believe. China, Paris, and Stockholm. There's Bill, Mick Jagger and Bill. Oh, boy. All right, so let's see. Jeffrey's 50th birthday party. Thaisis in Moscow girls. Thaisi in Moscow girls. Africa, Hawaii, Zorro. Crack hole. Proposal. Bali, Thailand, Asia, Russia. Blank nudes and yoga girls. Okay. Book 12. That was all heavily redacted. I'm just going to page through these. Hawaii and Zorro. It's all super redacted by the FBI. Hawaii and Zorro. That's Hawaii. And it's just like you look at like, why is that person not redacted out? It's like, who is that person? More Hawaii and Zorro. Super redactions. These are Hawaii and Zorro. Yeah, it was weird. More Hawaii and Zorro. Bali. Clinton Far East. So here's all the Clinton photos. Excuse me. We saw these ones on the bottom down here in data set 1. A lot of these photos are in data. This is Bill Clinton. China. Lolita Express. China Far East. Singapore. Oh, look, they took a picture of the sign up here, the street sign that said Maxwell Lane. Thailand. I think Clinton is in these photos too. I remember Clinton being in this one. We saw that. This one here in data set 1. Thailand again. More Thailand. This one, Copenhagen, Paris, and miscellaneous. Russia, 1102. Moscow. St. Petersburg. Where was the wait? Where were the red carpet? That was in Thailand. I think it was Thailand. Let me go back. That was Clinton. Yeah, it's Thailand. So that's Clinton. Where were we? Russia, Moscow, St. Petersburg. Excuse me. Russia, 1102. St. Petersburg, more in Russia. Copenhagen. Yeah, we saw these ones up here in data set 1. This one that's circled here was that video, and it's been actually unredacted, but it sounds like there's a girl that's actually taking the video, and she's like, "Where are you taking us?" I remember seeing that all over X. I'm just going to page through all the super heavy redacted stuff. This one is Morocco, St. Trope, Clinton, Morocco, nude, Clinton, Bali. I mean, this is what I sit here and go, like, what is Clinton going to do when he gets up there and has to testify in front of this committee with all of this evidence is he going to literally sit there and say, yeah, I mean, I didn't really know him that well. I mean, you're caught, dude. It's like, bro, you're caught. Far East trip, Clinton, Bali. I mean, look at the fucking, they're labeled. Excuse me. These are all new. It says nudes, all super heavy redacted, of course. I'm just going to scroll through them. Yeah, it's so mean. Like, you get like these photos of like a vacation, and then it's him with girls in these poses in a gym. You know what I mean? It's very disturbing. Let's see. Morocco. It's all Morocco. What was that? Cake. We will miss you, Mike. This one here. Clinton. Oh, wedding. Morocco King wedding. Look at this. Nudes. Little St. James the Island. Nudes. It's crazy, bro. I'm gonna scroll through this. Let's see this Far East trip. We saw a lot of these in data set 1. Here's the Lolita Express. Oh no, this is that's Clinton on that red carpet. You can see all the people lined up here. Maxwell Lane. Yeah, there's Clinton right there. You can see him. A lot of these look like doubles. Man, Clinton's all over. He's everywhere in these photos. More Clinton. This one's labeled girls dancing. Here's the Learjet right here, the G4. That's his Learjet. Girls dancing, yoga girls. Excuse me. This one says TED conference in California. And this is the Segway guy. TED conference, California. So this says Little St. James, Boat View, Cancer Benefit, Jean-Luc and Zorro, Christmas 04 at the Island, Book 16. This says at the Island, Boat View. From what I understand, these are labeled by Epstein. So all like the little like proofs, you know, like proof sheets. More Epstein Island. This one says JE photos and cancer benefit. Not scanned. More super heavy redactions. Palm Beach girls again. Picasso blue boy with pipe. Paintings, maybe. Oh, look at this. Sothersby. Paintings. Paintings that you and I could never afford. Yeah, painting. This one is on the island, 1204. No, Mary. So I know you said I would think as evidence they would be labeled as they were on a laptop or iCloud. No, these were like the photo books that he had at his house, and all the pages were taken out, and they just scanned all the pages. So we would send all these like, you know, they're proof pages like you used to get back in the day. Like I remember my parents used to get them, and then you would just pick what ones you wanted, and they would yeah, tons of redaction in the island photos, and then you would just pull the photos you want and have them printed. Oh yeah, these are definitely part of the collect his CDs, yeah. Go back and look at all he had those huge photo printers in his house and all that shit. Remember that massive printer we saw to print like large scale poster size photos? She says, yeah, I'm thinking the labels would be by him. Yeah, yeah. He had that's why you're seeing those books too. So he had them all in the collection, those books and, the little slide papers, the plastic sleeves. But this is stuff that was all taken from his townhouse in New York. Excuse me. John Luke photos. Yeah, right? I mean, it's like, what the fuck? But these people don't think they're not. He's just narcissistic, Here's even a better idea. Let's do some really bad fucking shit, and we're gonna photo it and make videos out of it. Like that's how fucking crazy these people are. This one says John Luke photos. John Luke. Welcome in, everybody. If you're just popping in, we are going through data set 3 of the Epstein files. This is live, and you can chat along with us if you like in the chat. And I'm just, kind of just scrolling through these, giving them a view and moving on. Again, you can, if you're watching this live, you can hang out with us. If you're watching this on replay, you can go back at your leisure and check these out. Please make sure to smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. And I appreciate all the new people that have come into the channel just recently. My first video that I did on this, two days ago has 122,000 views, and I brought in a ton of new people to the channel. And I'm going to start deep diving a lot of the Epstein stuff. To be honest with you, it's a case that I've kind of had in the back of my mind and followed it as it, kind of scrolled across our screen. But this is something that I want to do more of a deeper dive and learn who some of the major players were in all of this or have been alleged to be involved in this, and some of the major players that were around Jeffrey Epstein. And I want to just do, go through these sets and then start going through the profiles and allegations of the people that have been kind of brought up in all of this, because this stuff needs to be out there. If the mainstream media is not going to report on it, then people like myself and other people that have YouTube channels can start doing this and picking through this stuff. And there is a lot to learn. There's a lot of tentacles that kind of run through all of this. I am not an expert. I'm learning myself, and I'm reading a lot about it and talking with my friends and people that have followed this case. But it's something that needs to be talked about because it involves children and kids and underage women. And those are the people that need to be protected the most in life. A child's innocence, once that's taken away, that child's ruined forever. So we need to keep talking about these things. It's important to let the world know and then hold the people that are accountable that were involved in this. I mean, these women are scarred forever. Natalie, thanks for the 5. She said, thank you, Brian. Please give Brian a like and follow him. Always great content. Even Will agrees. Let's see. Melinda says, this channel popped up. I was curious how the files look like. This is super interesting. Thanks. Well, thanks for coming over here. I try to treat this with as much respect. This is very, very sensitive material. And again, just to be honest with all of you, if you're just jumping in and catching the show right now, I went back and tried to do the best redactions that I could on top of the redactions that were made by the FBI, because some of the stuff is really brutal, and was not redacted as much as it should have been. And I want to make sure that we treat these victims with respect and the people that were harmed in this circle of people. And the circle just keeps getting bigger. The names just keep getting, bigger, and it's like we're sitting here and I'm sitting on a live stream right now and I'm not reading any news articles or seeing anything come across my phone right now that X, Y, and Z has been arrested or this person's been brought in for questioning. Yeah, there's been some people that have been, arrested and brought up on, charges, but it's just a lot of this is just allegations right now. But the evidence is so strong and overwhelming. And it's like, what are we doing here? What are we waiting for? Let's start knocking on doors. Let's start chasing some of these people down. Let's start seeing some handcuffs. Mr. Rob California says, LTL Media, discover your channel today. Binge watch your previous videos on this case. It's very interesting but chilling. I hope everyone involved with it gets judged. Yeah, absolutely, man. And thank you for popping in. Thanks for becoming a new subscriber. I appreciate it. And I have a lawyer that I'm going to be bringing up on the channel. Her name is Nan Gallagher. She's been doing a lot of live streams with me. We covered the Karen Reed case. And she has some thoughts on this as well. And our plan is to go through some of the depositions that I've been releasing on my channel. And we want to go through some of that together and do some Q&A and some commentary over it. So look out for that. All right, we're going to keep going here. Again, I'm just going to kind of page through these. We've got about another 1,000 photos. I do know that probably the last 200 or 300 pages in this was grand jury testimony. And obviously, because it's from the grand jury, it's heavily redacted. So, like I said, we probably have about another 1,000 pages or so. And I'll just keep kind of clicking through this, but feel free. John Luke photos again. And this one is says JE pics. Excuse me. A lot of heavy redactions through here. That's weird. The middle finger one here to this tree, which is really weird. Jean-Luc and Zorro. So maybe, I don't know. Here's the Lolita Express. There's the plane. This one doesn't have a label. Let's see. Little St. James, boat, Palm Beach girls again, miscellaneous clouds, wedding, Tucker. I wonder what Tucker that is. Chris Tucker. We know he's been in some of these photos. Book 17. This is all, I remember this. This is all super heavily redacted. This is all model photos. I don't know what this is. Grapes. Ugh. What is that? This one doesn't have a label. It says blank pics. No, Chris Tucker. Yeah, not Tucker Carlson. He's you can go to dataset 1. You'll see some photos of him in there. On the boat, blank boat. So they're not saying whose boat. What's this? Little St. James. And it's funny, like someone pointed out earlier, a lot of the really heavily redacted stuff has been from the island. It's Little St. James again. Epstein Island. So, yeah, miscellaneous Epstein Island photos. More Epstein Island photos. $727. That's the $727. These are all super redacted. More heavily redacted. 2405. February 4th, 05. What's this one? Same. 04, 05, 405. Let's see. Clouds. One picture. Let's see. That has no label. That's let's see. North Salem and wedding. North Salem wedding in Tucker. Yeah, exactly, Greg. I mean, we talked about that. Greg says, keep in mind, there've been 0 arrests. I know. He said, I've been watching for 1 hour and I'm too disturbed to not comment anymore. Yeah, it's the biggest question. Why no arrests? What are we waiting for here? Okay, so we had Palm Beach, Epstein Island clouds, Palm Beach sunsets, miscellaneous carnival, black and white, and Epstein Island rooms. Excuse me. This is all super heavily redacted. I remember this. This says it's Bird, Palm Beach, Epstein Island, clouds. Palm Beach sunsets, miscellaneous and clouds. You think Prince Andrew was taken into custody? Let's see. Let's look it up. Oh no, look at this. Former Prince Andrew moves out of royal residence. Ex-Prince Andrew entangled in Epstein's house of horrors triggers new nightmares. Yeah, I'm going to be going in. He's got some interviews on record that we're going to be going through and picking through those. But he's moved out of the royal palace. I'm sure he has. They don't want anything to do with that. All right, let's see. Yeah, this is all heavily redacted. All the Epstein Island photos. More Epstein Island photos. Midnight Express. It's probably the name of this boat, I would think. I want to see, because I've been seeing this. I want to see what that kind of camera is. Simco. Let's see, JPEG. Let's see what it says. Was converted? Oh, that is Midnight Express. This doesn't have a label. Rock clearing at Epstein Island. So probably building the infrastructure. GM Ankle and Joshua. Ghislaine. I don't know, something wrong with her ankle or something. Carnival. Message attachment. Excuse me. More CDs. Let's see. Hair. I don't know what this is. Clouds. New clouds. Clouds. Black and white. 61305. What did that say? Joe, please use this disc for photo. Huh. That's a massive print. 91.75 by 56.75. That's big. Please use this new photo disc, new size. Please, can we do a proof first? Yeah, so that's what I was saying. All those little proof sheets. He's probably having those made up. And then he would just pick. That's probably the photo there. That's the print. I actually redacted her face a little bit more because I remember doing that. They just had the body, but I ended up doing her face to hide her face. This one says painted rooms in Epstein Island. It's like, why not showing these rooms? Miscellaneous Ohio horse event, the Rolling Stones, Jeffrey Epstein Miami Hotel, Jeffrey Epstein dinner with Jeffrey Epstein girls, tree frog, clouds, knitting, miscellaneous photos. Here's her knee. She must have whacked her knee or something like that. I don't know. Oh, look at that. Hospital bed. Look at this. Someone must have fell or got hurt or something. Palm Beach again. Clouds. A lot of cloud photos. Someone liked clouds. This is all Palm Beach. It said Palm Beach. Excuse me. Yeah, right? I've seen a couple of YouTubers sneak onto that and look in that thing, right? Yeah, what is with that? I want to get into that. We'll be getting into all that stuff. This one doesn't have a label on it. Excuse me. No labels on this one, too. The labels have been blacked out. More clouds. Ohio horse event. This one is. Oh, look at this. Let's see. The first YouTuber to sneak onto the island and took a look inside the temple said he saw a staircase behind the bookshelf leading downstairs. Fuck. Ohio horse event. Excuse me. Looks like an email address there. Handwritten email address. I'm losing my voice. Excuse me. This guy was all over the world all the time, huh? Just traveling, traveling, traveling. Never really seemed like he was in one spot. Rolling Stones and Fergie. They had a concert together? Really? That's interesting. I just wonder what this said. Let's see if we can zoom in a little bit. Can't read it. Too hard to read. I got my plan. Yeah. So do I have a drink of water by me? Yeah, I got my bottle, but it's empty. And I don't want to leave the live. I'd feel bad. Excuse me. But I might have to here in a second. Rolling Stones and Fergie. It's kind of a weird concert, huh? No, Fergie of the Black Eyed Peas. Yeah, that Fergie. AM Family. Miami Hotel, Jeffrey Epstein, Miami Hotel. Let's see. We'll wait, get a drink. Do you mind if I grab some water? I'm going to grab some water really quick. I'll be right back. I promise. Be right back. You can look at the writing on the So we have probably about 400 more pages or so, because I know the last like 200 or 300 pages are all grand jury testimony that gets that got blacked out. It's weird. Flat screen TV, birthday, like the one at 71st. 71st. What's this? Tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. 71st. Wednesday, 11 a.m. Slips. I don't know what that says. JE dinner. Right? Oh, let's see. Yeah. Yeah, and they still haven't released everything. You're right. This is all heavily redacted. That's a JM miscellaneous girls, JM dinner, tree frogs and clouds. More clouds. You like this clouds. Like this clouds. This is all heavily redacted. More clouds. Clouds and knitting. Okay. Oh, look at this. I'll pause that so you guys can read it really quick. All right, moving on. Christmas 05. Yeah, of course, Yvette. Thanks for watching. It's important to go through this stuff. I mean, it's publicly available, but a lot of people won't take the time to go through it. And, it is important to go through it to understand and see what was going on. And clearly, there's a lot of bad shit going on. This is clearly a lot of redactions. Oh, this was the tattoo photos. You saw that in data set 1, my first video. More clouds. Sultan. Thank you, Ruthie. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. But again, I wanted to do this and be as sensitive to the victims as I could. I talked about in the beginning of the show, if you're just jumping in now, I went through this and, a lot of the stuff was not redacted properly at all. So I wanted to go back and make sure that I can properly, redact, make sure that, I do the best of my due diligence to be sensitive to the victims. What's this? Christmas Necker. Neckeer. Thank you, Ruthie. Appreciate you being here. All right, let's move on. Puerto Rico 05. What did that say? Puerto Rico. This is all Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico. Massive yacht. I remember seeing some of these photos in data set 1 when we went through them. Look at this. Interesting. In Paris. Yeah, I heard he spent a lot of time in Paris, Rob. It's like, what are you doing out there? You know what I mean? What are you doing at a kid's hospital? Like, what the fuck? Yeah, and I thought that too. But Rob seems to think it's this name of a French hospital. Let's see. Puerto Rico, more Puerto Rico. Zorro, the ranch, cloud loves his clouds. A lot of clouds. Someone like clouds. I wonder what his fascination was with clouds. Tons of cloud photos, right? So here's the thing, Yvette. I downloaded set 8, right? And I went to extract it and convert it. And some of the files were corrupt. But if I went in to the unzipped file, just in the unzipped folder, I could get into them and look at them one by one. So it was really weird. I don't know if you're having that issue too, because there is a ton of files in 8. There's a ton of files in 8, in data set 8. Brazil, St. Bart's, and miscellaneous. And I want to thank everybody that's coming to the live show tonight. If you haven't, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. You can comment in the chat if you want to support it. You can hit the super chat option, or you can send me a Cash App or Venmo. I would appreciate it. Helps keep the lights on in the studio. Brazil, St. Bart's. Or you can become a member. We have a lot of great members only content too. You can hit that membership button. You know what? Let's do this. I'm going to hand out some memberships. I haven't done that in a while. Let's hand out some memberships. And my membership started $1.99. Well, let's give some out tonight. Let's give 5 new members in here so they can enjoy it for a month. All right. Let's do this. 5 new memberships. I gifted out some memberships. So we got 5 new members. Enjoy all the members only content. It's on the front of my homepage. You can scroll to the bottom, all my members only content in there. Walter Cronkite. Yikes. Meeting with Walter Cronkite. Oh boy. Let's see. Little St. James aerial, mechanical, and new office location. So building the island of horror. Chateau. Aerial photos. That's a pretty impressive house, huh? Ski trip. Maybe maybe a birthday party or something. Someone's birthday party. Skiing. That's interesting. It says sewers at the top of the page. Interesting, huh? Sunsets in Paris. Just gonna keep paging through here. Lots of clouds. This is interesting. This is like blinds peeking at someone. This one is Epstein Island in Paris. Epstein Island water. I'm just going to buzz through these. "29th birthday at Zorro." I'm definitely not Jeffrey's, but someone. Rick, I get it. I get it. You've been saying, zoom in. The problem with zooming in, it will take me 10 hours to get through these sets of photos. Like, you don't understand. There's 1,847 photos. So it would be almost next near impossible if I zoom in and we slowly scroll through everything. I'll be here for 10 hours. Again, this is all available on the DOJ website. You can go in and zoom in all you want and study each photo if you'd like to do that. I'm going to drop the link at the end of the show. I try to keep these to like 2-hour shows. It would be, I have another 500 photos to get through. So it would be next near impossible to do it that way. So I'm just scrolling through, and if people want to stop it and pause it and look, can do it. This one's 29th birthday at Zorro. Yeah. I mean, if I zoom in, we're going to be here all day. So I'm just widening the page, and it's the way we're doing it. And we saw a lot of these in data set 1. That's the ranch in New Mexico. Massive. 33,000 square feet. 33,000 square feet. Let's see. Africa, September 2nd, Vanity Fair. When I first read this, I thought it said crack whore. Crack hole proposal, Hawaii, missile image, Danny Hillis and Zorro. TED convention, Spain, 50th birthday, Zorro. Glasses on Wall Street Journal. Interesting. Book what? Book 5. Yeah, it's massive. It's a ton of photos. It will literally take me all day if I do it that way. Clinton trips. Look at this. More Clinton. New York, LA, and London. Oh, Bill, you've been a naughty boy. I can't wait to see what he's going to say. But it's like it's not going to be open testimony. He's going to do it behind closed doors. And then we're going to feed the transcripts later for everybody to read through. Mountains and mountains and mountains of transcripts. Another way to hide it. Another way to hide all this shit. Another way to get off the hook. Miscellaneous images. I think we're getting up to go to the grand jury testimony soon. A lot of these we saw in data set 1. I remember a lot of these photos. Some say nude. It's just all victims. Nudes. Zorro, more Zorro. This guy took a lot of photos too. Clinton, London, Africa. There he is. There's Chris Tucker right there. Oh boy. We saw a lot of these in data set 1. Magazine project. Oh, look at this. He taking photos for a magazine. Finished. Look at this. Small office. That's interesting. Final cleanup, version finished. It looks like they were doing some editing. I don't know, something maybe for a magazine or something. There's Bubba. Clinton pilots at the TED convention. This guy's everywhere, man. All over these files. Like, how do you explain that away? Michael Jackson, we saw that in the first data set. All super heavily redacted. Clinton pilots. My eyes are starting to hurt from the scrolling. It's a lot of photos. I think this had the most photos that we scrolled through so far. Scanning back this. More heavy redactions. Yeah, this is all super heavy redacted. Super heavy redactions. FBI. This was kind of haunting. He's got in this, I noticed is he has a police sweatshirt on. Who would have known, right? Look at this. Police. Look at that. I mean, be that brazen, you know? Let me go back down. Oops. There we go. All super heavy redacted. Excuse me. Hmm. Lots of redactions through here. I think we're getting towards the end. We're at like with 1,500 so far. What's this one? Oh, my eyes. It looks more like the island. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Tons of redactions. And rightfully so. I mean, I don't want to see victims' faces and names. I mean, it's just it's all like that's the Learjet. Excuse me. Look how young he was there. Super young. Yeah. We're getting to the end of it. My eyes are killing me. It's been a lot. I mean, I commend everybody hanging in for the last 2.5 hours. I really appreciate y'all being here. I really do. If you haven't subscribed, make sure to subscribe. Please. What's this say? Happy wedding day, August 2015. It's crazy. It's like, how many lives did this affect? This must be hundreds and or thousands of people this all affected. What's the date on this one? 99, 10, 10, 99. These all these be like single photographs. Yeah, they were all scanned and uploaded. All super redacted. Yeah, exactly. You're right, Rob. 100% affected a lot of people. Yeah, and I haven't even really gotten into that stuff, Norman. I mean, I've seen a lot of it on X, all the kind of the really cherry pick stuff and the stuff that's been calling for attention. I mean, there's just so much of it. I mean, thousands and thousands and thousands of documents, emails, you know, names that are mentioned that people aren't arrested yet. I don't get it. I just don't get it. How is this happening? This is all heavily redacted. A lot of these look like repeats too. Sorry, I'm just trying to get somewhat to the end here. My eyes are bonkered out of my head. And I don't think there's going to be too much more anyway. A lot of the stuff is really heavily redacted. Yeah, it's just so much. I mean, it's impossible to go through all of this stuff. These are all like just all redacted. Oh, these were weird. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Don't know who made these. It's like these weird photo collages. And it started these little stories. Yeah, this is some of the most weirdest fucking shit here. I'm just going like, what's going on here? Like, who's making this? Is it him? Was it someone, like, did someone give him this? I met you. Those eyes are blue and the little maybe teeth. There was a little girl. How do I look? This is I played the cards were the cards I was dealt. And then it looks like planes and traveling. First Christmas. Oh my goodness. I will be the first. Came. Is my cover blown? What could this be? I learned. Yeah, those redactions are crazy. I exactly. Like, what the fuck is going on here? And grew like this. Like, don't know what this is. Don't know who made it. Is this something that he's doing or what? Before and after. Okay. Brazilian, Prague, Czech milk, Berlin. Well, we traveled, Dubai, St. Barth's. You're the best. Oh, really? You're sweet to me. Like Prague. I know that I'm working on number 3. We fought, then hugged. We laughed. One ham blank, please. No mustard. 8.99. Oi, good job. Oh, that's my that. Yeah. Now you drive. I will get you. And like, look at like a knife in his hand. All the negatives. These are all just negatives. More Palm Beach. Yeah, this is all the grand jury testimony. Um, I'm here today to present you the considering a proposal superseding indictment charging just Ghislaine Maxwell in 6 counts. This is all her grand jury testimony. Um, I'm just gonna leave it on screen if you guys want to read it really quick. I would read through it. My eyes are bananas right now. But I know we're at the end of this, and I'll pop the next page. I'll post this up on X. How about I do that? I'm gonna cut this and post it up on X, and you can find me on X here. Hang on. I don't know if you guys a lot of people have X, but let's see. I think my link should come up. Let me see. If not, I'm gonna post this up on X after the show. I'll give you my X account. So if you want to read through it, you can. Oh, good. It did drop my link, but I'll just put it in there anyway. I want to go to the next page. I'm going to let you read that real quick. I'll be right back. All right. I know. United States versus Ghislaine Maxwell. Look at this. 7/8/20. Now, as I mentioned, I'll be not calling any witnesses today. Send and present you with exhibits from last week. Wow. Grand jury exhibit 4. A lot of this gets blacked out too, I remember. Yeah, I think this is the last of it here. July 22nd, 2020. Yeah, this is all blanked out now. Yep. That's it. I remember that's the end of the document. All right. That was a long sesh. Long sesh. But I'm gonna I'll post it up on X. If not, you guys can go back and read through it. But very, very long session. I'm starting to lose people here, so it's getting late. And look, I want to thank everybody for jumping in tonight and going through this. I know there's a very long live stream, and I just kind of wanted to page through so you guys could get an idea. And if you want to go back and pause, you can do that. I'm going to start looking into some of the other data sets, and I might actually start digging into the emails. And then what I want to do as well is I want to go through kind of profiles of the people that have been implicated, in the Epstein files, and look, and look at their involvement. What has their names been brought up in, and start kind of building a profile of all of that, along with all these new data dumps too. So we'll be doing a lot of the deep diving in this, as I'm still learning through a lot, learning a lot about this. Again, it's been something that I've kind of followed, through the news, and got my information about this. But now that we have this huge data dump, this is definitely going to help us to continue to look into this and expose and see what happens. It's amazing. This dropped almost about a week ago, and we have still not heard of any arrest, any people being taken in for depositions, anybody being questioned, nothing. And it's pretty disgusting. It's pretty disgusting. If these people do have involvement in it, they need to be held accountable. And that's the bottom line. So thank you all for being here. I appreciate you all being here. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. You can go back and check out my 2 videos where I did data set 1 and data set 2. They're here on my channel. If you'd like to go through them, please do that. And I'll add some chapters in here, because again, this is live streamed. I know some people complain, they're like, your intro's way too long. But it's like a minute, and it allows people to get in and get in the chat. So, all right, everybody, I'm going to head out. Thank you all for being here. Thank you to all the new subscribers. Appreciate you all being here. And I think the next show that we're going to have on, I'm going to have my friend, Attorney Nan Gallagher, join us. And we're going to start going through some of the depositions and hear her take on that too. So, all right, I'm going to head out. Thanks everybody for being here. Take care. Peace.